Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Checker is waving, and William has won the 500 for the second year in a row.
Right side of the floor, Cortez bounces to Beverly. On the right wing, Washington to the basket. In traffic, and hangs goes in.
At the break, Bošković, the touch to Saunders, and Saunders scoops it home.
I feel like they need us. I feel like we need that game, like ourselves. I feel like we should learn experience. But, in the time, they just felt like they just didn't more enough.
Asar trying to be aggressive early, kicks it back out. Here's Madsen, open, three, good.
We had a Tang hit a three that, really kind of got the guys going a little bit. And the energy, you could just tell the energy in the gym the fans were getting up. We got a couple dunks there. And then we were able to just kind of stretch it out from.
I think our 3-2 trap is pretty solid, especially for how long and athletic we are. So I think it really just gets the job done, and we're all flying at rebounds and flying in passing lanes, and it's pretty tough.
I played here, and, you remember all these kids. Hoisington, Pratt, Nickerson, GMP, everywhere we went, we played long, and it was just like this crowd's on top of you, and it's loud.
It really just messes with your confidence. You're losing a year out, but I'm ready to come back and dominate. Expectations are to place at least top 5 and win a state match.
I always say it. I love Kansas City. I love everything about it. From the fans to the city to my teammates, everything. I'm super excited. I think it gives me a little security, and it gives them, they kind of know what's on the books.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome to the Monday Sports Day show. Steve Webster with you in the Mayo Money Management studio, and Landon Winkler is running the video stream, the executive producer for Sports Day, as we roll on after a busy. That was 10 highlights I got rolled in there today. There's a few things that went on over the weekend. We'll talk about them in our sounds of the past 24 hours or so. But on today's show, Jim Mazunas is going to be in to help us get through all the weekend headlines. Regional wrestling for the girls, a lot of great high school basketball played in the area, and had a player score 50 points who was just in the studio last week. So that was pretty good. So we'll talk to Jim about that. Nathan Brockelman, Barton Wrestling, well, they qualified 6th for the Nationals. It'll be coming up about 2.5, 3 weeks, as they were in the South Central Regional down at Pratt over the weekend. So we're going to meet them all. I think we'll have 4 of those 6 wrestlers in here. And then we'll talk Barton women's basketball. Head coach Alan Clark on the road today recruiting, but we're going to get to talk to a couple of freshmen. Kiana Hall will be in. She's a freshman from Liberal. And Cody Greer from Basel, Kansas, 5'7" freshman, went to Basel Linwood High School, so we'll talk to them about Barton women's basketball. Lady Cougars falling over the weekend in their game against 7th-ranked Dodge City. So let's get to the sounds the past 24 hours or so. Hey, if you like racing, it usually means that spring is almost here, right? Masters promos are going right now. Daytona 500 is underway. And, of course, we're going to get like 7 inches of snow, and it's going to be 0 for the next 4 days. But the call on Fox yesterday, William Byron won his 2nd straight Daytona 500. He dodged a string of late race wrecks that knocked out of a chunk of contenders and sent the Hendrick Motorsports driver to victory after 2 weather delays that totaled more than 3.5 hours. And isn't this the way Daytona always ends? It's the guy that he was in 9th place when all the wreckage and carnage began, and he got through it late. It's the way Daytona always ends, which is kind of disappointing sometimes, but William Byron wins the Daytona 500. Mike Kennedy, longtime announcer for the Wichita State Shockers, had the call yesterday on KEYN in Wichita. Corey Washington scored. That gave Wichita State an 80-77 lead over Memphis, and the Shockers get a signature win. They beat Memphis, who was ranked 14th in the country, 84-79. Wichita State goes to Florida Atlantic on Thursday. Not a good weekend for KU and K-State. The call Saturday night on ESPN+. Richie Saunders with 2 of his 17 points, and BYU's 80-65 win over K-State. That was in Provo, Utah, or Salt Lake. And an early 17-4 run gave the Cougars a 26-12 first-half lead. Kansas State never did recover. Doug McDaniel, heard him talking about, thought maybe BYU just wanted a little bit more than they did. I don't know if that was the case. You've got to make more. K-State missed 11 straight shots at one point as they see their 6-game winning streak come to an end. They'll be right back at it tonight as they play Utah. K-State guard Brendan Hazen says, we'll be ready to go. Got to bounce back. K-State now 13-12 overall. If you want to watch K-State basketball, well, you get to stay up late tonight. It's a 10 o'clock tip, but it's not on ESPN Plus. You can watch it on ESPN2. And the Wildcats will be facing a Utah team that also picked up a win over a Kansas school Saturday. You heard the call on ESPN. Gabe Madsen scoring 2 of his 24 points. Utah beats fading Kansas 74-67. Madsen became Utah's career leader in made three-pointers, made 2 free throws with 26 seconds to play. That clinched the game. Zeke Mayo had to leave the game briefly with a lower leg injury, but he led Kansas with 15 points. And Kansas will play at BYU tomorrow night, and you can hear that game here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM starting at 7:30. Remember when KU was ranked in the preseason poll? They were number 1. Well, they're about to fall out of the poll. I thought they would this week, but they keep clinging. They keep clinging. They're ranked 23rd, the new poll coming out about 30 minutes ago, and KU keeps their long streak of being ranked in the top 25 going. But, wow. They have played, 7 teams that are in the top 25. The last 7 times they played a ranked team, they've lost 6 of those games. And right now they sit at 8-6, which is tied with BYU for 5th place in the Big 12 with Baylor. Kansas State 7-7, 13-12. Both KU and K-State needing victories tonight. Auburn remains the number 1 ranked team in the country, followed by Florida, Duke, Alabama, Houston, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Iowa State is ranked 8th. Texas Tech, they're ranked 9th this week. St. John's is number 10, and then there's KU at number 23. K-State women are ranked 12th in the women's poll that was released today as well. Jeremy Combs, head coach of the Barton Cougars, talking about Barton's 16-1 run in the second half, late in the game, that saw them win the contest going away against Dodge City, 93-79. Cougars didn't have their first lead of the game until just over 5 minutes to go, and that was part of that 16-1 run. Good news for Barton. Coffeyville lost Saturday to first place Cowley, 82-60. So Barton now has a 1-game lead over the Red Ravens for second place in the Jayhawk standings. Barton 21-5 overall, 15-5 in league play. Cowley's pretty much put the conference title to bed here with just over 2 weeks to go in the regular season. They're 18-2. But Barton wanting to get up there and improve your resume. They can keep winning some games. Great opportunity to get an at-large berth into the national tournament. Of course, you have to perform well in a Region 6 tournament. But they're 15-5. Coffeyville 13-5. Then you have Butler 13-6. Hutch lost on Saturday night. Or I take that back. They won 98-73. They lost the game before that. So Hutch is 12-7. Then you get down to Colby, is number 6 in the conference right now, playing 500 basketball in the Jayhawk Conference. Barton is off now for a week, and they have their bye week on Wednesday, and then they travel to Goodland to take on Fort Hays State Northwest Tech Saturday at Max Jones Fieldhouse. Lady Cougars, they fall to Dodge City. It's pretty good. 70-47, but Barton running out of time if they want to have any hope of hosting a first-round game in the first round of the tournament, as they are now 8-12. They're behind Garden City now, who's 8-11. Only other 3 teams they're above right now, Pratt Independence and Fort Hays Tech Northwest, who go 1-17, 1-18, 1-18 in conference play. Barton was on a nice little run, but they've hit a tough stretch of the schedule, and they'll be able to get a win out there. They've still got hopes, but they need to get going here at the end of the season. All right, a lot of high school basketball from the weekend. Ben Nicholson talking about the Panthers' defense. Let's see, we've seen the 1-3-1. We've seen kind of a 2-3 zone. Tough man-to-man defense. They're holding opponents now to 36% shooting from the field, and they've rolled something else out. It's kind of a 3-2 zone. They'll play at three-quarter court. And you have Ian Premer at the top of that defense, and it's causing some havoc. Garden City only scored 41 points on Friday night. Great Bend wins the game by the score of 69-41. Great Bend overwhelming Garden City in the first quarter. And Ian Premer spraining an ankle. And he did not return in the second half, but by then he'd already had a double-double, 19 points and 11 rebounds. Ben Nicholson, whom you heard about talking about the defense, scored 19 points. He had 18 on Thursday night in the win over Dodge City. The team that will come to Great Bend on Friday, Panthers, do not play tomorrow, and the way the weather looks, a lot of other teams probably won't be either. Great Bend 16-1 on the year, 6-0 in league play. That was their 13th consecutive win. Girls game, Garden City, 15-0 run, took an 18-4 first quarter lead, never threatened. Lady Panthers fall 60-35. They're now just 5-12 overall, 1-5 in the WAC. Other Western Athletic Conference action from Friday. Hayes beat Liberal 67-30, and that much-anticipated girls game, Hayes is pretty good. Liberal's playing better, doesn't matter. Hayes stayed unbeaten. They're 16-0. They overwhelmed Liberal 65-32. Some other sounds from the weekend. Larned girls coach Jared Smith talking about he got nostalgic. He played at the old Frog Dome. They played the game at Old Pratt High School. I love that. And he said it brought back days of the old MSAA with the Pit League. You had TMP, you had Hoisington, you had Pratt. And his team won, too. How about that win by the Lady Indians? They beat the 10th-ranked Greenbacks 38-31. Pratt winning the boys' game 64-28. Larned is scheduled to play at Haven tomorrow night. Other high school action, how about Landon Simpson? He was in the studio last Thursday. Well, Landon went out and hit 11 three-pointers, scored 50 on Friday night in a 79-39 win over Kinsley. Both those marks were school records. Simpson broke Britt Dutton's recent record of 48 points, previous three-point record held by Mike Dries and Brett Detter. Dries in 94, Detter in 2007. They both had 9. We'll run down the other high school scores coming up with Jim Mizunas coming in here in just a moment. There are Monday games already scheduled tonight. Some may have been rescheduled, but this is what's on the slate for tonight. McPherson playing at Hayes. That's a makeup of last Tuesday. Hoisington will be at Hillsboro tonight. Hesh and Gene Manweiler with a call on 100.7 Eagle Country. It'll be Haven at Pratt, Sunrise Christian at Heston. That same Heston team will roll in here a week from tomorrow to take on the Great Bend Panthers. Kinsley is at La Crosse, and Hodgman County plays at Satanta. All right, Panther Wrestling, they end up qualifying 7 for the state wrestling tournament coming up next week. And we'll talk with Jim Mizunas about that as well. And you heard from Larned Jr., Kara Herbert. She's ranked number 5 at 135. She's headed back to state. Missed her freshman season due to injury. Qualified for state last year. Talking about overcoming things when you're coming back from an injury. Herbert, one of 5 Lady Indian wrestlers who qualified for 321A state. We'll talk about Barton Wrestling with Nathan Brockelman and his qualifiers. And finally, all-star left-hander Cole Reagans and the Kansas City Royals agreed Friday to a $13.25 million 3-year contract. The 27-year-old remains eligible for salary arbitration after the 2027 season, can become a free agent after the 28 World Series. Talking about how he likes it in Kansas City. And he may be criticized for taking that deal, but, man, he's got securities for his family, 13 years, $13 million, and he can get a bigger contract from the Royals at the end of this 2-year contract. Spring training continues. The Royals' first spring training game in Arizona is scheduled for Friday. So there you go, a lot of sounds of the weekend. And we're ready to get going. Jim Azunas, Great Bend Tribune. We'll talk about some of those events over the weekend. Coming up here on Sports Day.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, what are you getting email for Valentine's Day?
Well, Hadley, February is the month of love, and nothing shows love like a new garage door.
You're not just saying that because you own the company, are you, Papa?
Well, maybe a little, but honestly, a new garage door can really brighten up the home.
So, what are you getting email for Valentine's Day?
You go, Hadley.
C&E Doors. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, Great Bend.
He's passionate about his high school sports and his trendy sports apparel. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Azunas.
All right, Jim Azunas is in today. Is that like that's a sharp-looking John Deere pullover? Are you representing the implements today?
Yeah, we're representing the farm community.
Okay, well, that looks sharp. I like that. Sports Day brought you in part by the Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Great Bend Rec Commission, dedicated to improving their communities and the lives of its individuals in the American Plains Co-op. Bulk Fuel Department, featuring number 2 Clear Diesel, Bulk Fuel, E10, fuel delivery, all your lubricants and farm supplies. Woo, there's a few things happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
I guess if you're a race fan, but...
Yeah, that thing was like a...
Well, you know it's going to end if someone's going to wreck, and then whoever's left standing is who can avoid the accident the best.
Yeah, I would say if you were a betting person, that's not a good sport to bet on.
No, it's not. We had, let's see, college basketball. We'll get to that here. You going to stay up for the K-State tip tonight at 10 o'clock?
Well, I hope it's 8 o'clock. You know, and the restructured Big 12.
That's not the Monday night. That's not the big Monday game. This is an ADME game because we played in BYU Saturday, so we're staying out there to complete the 2-game trip.
Yeah, and I tell you, the restructured Big 12, that Utah trip is a tough one for K-State and Kansas. And both of those teams, Utah and BYU, they're not really pure talented basketball, but they're big and strong and physical, and they can rebound, and they can knock you all over the place. So,
okay, high school basketball. Let's go ahead and talk with a guy that was sitting in the exact chair you are last Thursday.
Yes, and who's that? Kyle?
Landon.
That's right.
Landon Simpson with 50 points.
50 points. The Great Bend, the radio, not a hex.
I guess it's, and you're in that chair too, so you got a very good week.
Yeah, I hope they have a good week. Yeah.
What a performance, 50 points.
Yeah, Coach.
11 3-pointers.
11 3-pointers, which set a school record too. It's amazing. And Coach Jaron Lane told Landon, okay, you're having a great game, you're having a good game, but you need to get close. I don't want to put you in a running clock in the fourth quarter unless you're within a couple of points. We had 46 after 3 quarters, so with a running clock, it still can be a little bit dicey, but he ended up going 4 for 4 on free throws and getting 50. So, yeah, an incredible feat.
I mean, when Britt Dutton got that record, you're probably thinking, okay, well, that ought to be safe for a while, right? But it's not.
Yeah, no, you would have thought that's 48 is pretty safe record. So,
well, congratulations to Landon for doing that. Ellenwood ended up getting the victory. So how long I just keep waiting for that night that Anthony Gulliford's 43 point record at Great Bend High School goes down.
Well, Ian,
it could have happened in the first quarter the other night, but
Ian could definitely get that record. It's just a question of how that plays out, because he's been on target for much bigger games, but then the game gets out of whack, and it's a running clock, and it's really hard to score points when the clock's running. So you really have to almost do it in 3 quarters.
Well, hopefully he's able to run. That's kind of a scary moment. You see Ian Premer down on the floor, but he was up walking it off. He didn't play in the second half, had an ice pack, so hopefully just a sprained ankle. But they're playing really well right now.
Yeah, there's some issues with Great Bend. Their depth is questionable. Their free throw shooting at times is questionable. Their three-point shooting is questionable. But I'll tell you what, that defense, they can just mix and match that defense. And rebounding-wise, no question there. Terrific rebounding team.
They made 6 3-pointers the other night.
And
Dax Minton has turned into a marksman out there.
Shooting that patented.
Last 4 games, shooting like about 60% from 3.
Yeah, and really that's a great plan, is be selective about their three-point shooting. When Dax is wide open, he's gonna put it up, because he knows that, well, we got a 50-50 chance of getting that rebound.
Yeah,
so I'm going to put it up.
I would put it bet higher than that, right?
Yeah, it's just amazing how many rebounds that Ian Premer gets on the offense. I'll bet you it's 50-50. 50 offensive boards and 50 defensive. I bet you it's close to being 50-50.
Yeah. And usually he gets missed free throws and things like that he does get. So
those strengths are very defined, and the weaknesses, do three-point shooting could lose you a game, but when you're outscoring the team in the paint like 42-15.
Well, you got to be able to hit those. I mean, they're dropping way back in on Premer.
Yeah, you got to hit
Dax
them.
had open shots, and he just went up there confidently and knocked them in. That's a huge asset as we go forward. And Jacob Hall, the unsung, he's just like football. You just take him for granted. He's going to go out there, catch a couple touchdown passes, play well, and he's steady Eddie. 11, 12 points, 7 rebounds.
Their starting 5 is just tremendous, and then Cooper Elmont should be back this Friday night. So give him some minutes, and then you're another player deep, because it's amazing how I would say they've missed him, but it hasn't been real discernible, because, they're just playing terrific basketball. But terrific. And they've clinched a home site. You really want to win the last 3 and clinch the outright WAC title and be 19-1, because it helps you for a seed if you win your 2 postseason games. But they've already clinched a home site, top 4 seed, and that's your first goal. Your second goal is to win the league, and then your third goal is to get to the state tournament.
His 4th goal.
Well, you want to play 3 good games and employ.
Yeah, see if you come home. Boy, next week should be a fun week. Heston in here on Tuesday, and then wrap up the regular season at Hayes.
Yeah,
Friday.
Heston's legit. They've got a big man inside and Friesen, and it'll be a good matchup for Ian. But we've seen what he's done with smaller class big guys before, Pratt being one and Sterling being another. So he likes that challenge when a smaller class kid comes in, because the smaller class kid says, "Hey, I'm gonna see how I compare to Ian Premer," and so Ian will be fired up and ready to go next week.
Great Bend they were even on the boards on Friday night. First time that's happened. So it kept their string alive. The only game they have lost this year, they were out-rebounded. They're out-rebounding their opponents by an average of 12 per game.
That was Haven, I assume?
Yeah. Haven.
Yeah, and again, that was sort of an efficiency thing where there weren't a lot of shots put up. Haven shot a bigger percentage, so there's going to be more defensive rebounds for Haven than the opposite.
Well, that's the strategy, right?
Yeah,
slow the tempo
question.
down, but then if you take 3-pointers, make sure you make them. And they made 7 of 11 in that game.
Yeah, and really, if you
start shooting 3-pointers, that's when you know it's fun. The Sharks it's a frenzy, because you're getting those long rebounds that headed the other way.
Oh yeah, it's just fun, and a lot of the bigger class, really good teams, they want to play fast. Like Andover wanted to play fast. The really good teams in 5A boys, they want to play fast. So I don't think that'll be necessarily an issue in postseason.
Other takes from high school basketball from Friday, Jim, and the CPL on the boys' side. You see what Victoria did to St. John. It's just, wow.
Yeah, they hit, how many 3-pointers was it? It was quite a few. Like, out of 20-something field goals, I think it was 15 or so. They were just raining in.
42, wow.
Yeah, they were raining in 3. I think it was 14 maybe, 14 3-pointers. So, yeah, they were tremendous. they're really putting things together right now. Victoria's definitely a team to watch, and they're tied with the Central Plains for the league lead. And on the girls' side, it's going to be a three-way tie between St. John, Central Plains, and Ellenwood. It'll be a three-way tie for first place when it all gets sorted out. Yeah, the 3 and below, what they do is they'll have, if you're in the top seed, you'll get 2 home games, and you won't play the site until the championship game on Friday or Saturday. So you won't go to Sublette or Scott City until that Friday or Saturday. You'll get, if you're at 1-2 seed, you'll get 2 home games. Of course, in 1A, you sometimes get a bye, so Central Plains boys and girls will only get 1 home game. But that's a change, which I think is good. You only get 1 trip out west, whether it's I think it's Atwood for Central Plains. So that's going to be quite a jaunt out there.
Yeah, it is. So, all right, the high school basketball, Lady Panthers, well represented, or will be next week at the 5A state wrestling tournament.
Yeah, it's the split between 5A and 6A. Great Bend girls, they would have won a state team championship had 6A been split off a couple years ago, because they were very competitive with Washburn Rural, Dodge, and Garden, and often would outscore the WAC schools. And now with 5A separate, they got 10 qualifiers in. They got trio runner-ups with Camden Post, Micah Elligood, and Kira Stevens. So 3 runners-up and 10 qualifiers. So that's tremendous representation, and there's no reason to think that they'll be very competitive at the state meet.
Great Bend finished 5th. Capon won it, and Hayes High finished 2nd. Larned, they qualify 5 wrestlers for state.
Yeah, and Ellenwood gets 5, and Hoisington gets 7. So, and again, Hoisington had two champs, Nieva Graves and Haley Hollinde, both regional champs. So, and then Jenna Bohr and Emma Hahn, both for Ellenwood, were runners-up. So, yeah, good representation. It's just amazing how girls wrestling is just virtually going through the roof. And even at the smaller schools, I mean, it's just amazing what the participation level of, like, Ellenwood girl athletes. They got the girls basketball team, but they got a slew of wrestlers, too, and 5 of them heading to the state meet. So that's tremendous for those smaller schools that they're showing that, hey, the girls can compete, too.
They can find a mat to wrestle on.
Yeah, even if you have to put it in the basement.
Where's the wrestling room going to be?
Yeah, the Elligood family has a wrestling mat in the basement.
Okay, K-State loses. Now they play tonight against Utah. They bounce back tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same kind of a challenge. It's just a big, strong, physical team. They had one really good shooter. I mean, that was definitely a winnable game for Kansas. I mean, Utah went scoreless for what? No field goals for like 7 minutes or something, and it was like 60-60 forever. And so, yeah, it's the same kind of a challenge. Utah and BYU are just big, strong, physical teams. And
they've got 6'7" guys that can shoot threes. Like
yeah, and it's just a crazy matchup because your big guys are shooting threes and your smaller guys are running around driving it to the basket. So, and then, I don't know what the altitude is worth, but it's worth something. It's definitely a home court advantage. Because it's just something you're not used to. You may run out of gas and you're asking your coach, why am I tired? Well, we're at 5,000, 6,000 feet or whatever it is out there in Utah. So, yeah, it's really a tough road trip to Utah for those teams.
Bet they've never played at 8,000 feet of elevation.
No, that's pretty up. That's high up there. Where's that?
Gunnison.
Yeah,
home of the Western State Mountaineers.
Yeah, man.
I got tired walking up the stairs just to announce that game. Then you'd have to go up there and play.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that. So I don't know. You really can't acclimate yourself to altitude in that short period. You just have to live with it.
Then you play the next night in Grand Junction, which is on the western slope. But you were all worn out from the game the day before. So
yeah, and then K-State women are starting at 1:00 today at West Virginia, so that's going to be fun.
What is it going to snow there? They got to get back early.
Well, no, I think it was scheduled. For some reason, some of the women's games are.
Oh, it's a President's Day.
Yeah,
President's Day game
festival. So and their big girl, Ayoka Lee, is close to coming back too. I think after this game, she'll be coming back after then. So it's always nice to be healthy coming down the stretch here.
What else is on your platter today, Jim?
Well, again, postseason basketball is getting ready to roll. February 24, 25 is when 1A girls and boys get started. And then on down the road, it'll be March 7th and 8th will be qualifying for state. And then March 13, 14 is when the state basketball gets going. So we're a week later this year, which, again, It depends on the calendar, but we're a week later this year than we normally have been in recent years. So just to sort of have to adjust to the second week of March being the state tournament week.
Okay. Appreciate you coming in today, Jim. Nice looking top. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
You look good in Iuka. They like John Deere down there.
That's a good place to be, Iuka. Iuka Hustlers.
Exactly. Sports Day today brought to you by C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, and in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. More Sports Day after this.
From the Mail Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
When you're a farmer, water can be a blessing or a curse. Expected rain? Good. Water in your engines? Bad. What do I trust to fuel my equipment? Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster, a premium diesel fuel that keeps contaminants from clogging filters, ruining fuel injectors, and tanking fuel efficiency better than any formula that's come before. Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster, fueled by innovation, powered to perform.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no-obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
Step into the spotlight with Barton Community College's theater program. Whether you dream of performing on stage or creating magic behind the scenes, Barton offers hands-on training, expert guidance, and creative performance opportunities. With top-tier facilities and a supportive community, you'll develop the skills to shine. Turn your passion into a career and start your journey to the stage at Barton. Learn more at theater.bartoncccc.edu.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Day today. Time to talk Barton Cougar Wrestling. Head coach Nathan Brockelman, along with 3 wrestlers who are headed to the Nationals, but you just brought half of them today.
Yeah, we had a couple guys sick, so I didn't want to bring them in here, tell them to rest and get through all this sickness and hopefully, be as close to 100% as you can when we get to Nationals here in 3 weeks. So.
Okay, 5 go to Nationals. Tell me about good performance. Pleased with that number?
Yeah, very pleased. We talked last week, and I was thinking kind of had 2 in for sure, and one of them almost didn't make it of those 2, but he's staying here with us today, so he's got a little second chance with a wild card, and I thought, maybe we could get up to 4. And so taking 5 when I was thinking 2 to 4 I was very pleased with the weekend.
Jarrett Mader, 3rd place finish. Talk about Jarrett's weekend.
Jarrett wrestled well. His bracket drew up pretty good for us. He was the 4th seed, and we hadn't wrestled the 5th seed before, but we'd kind of watched him throughout the year, so thought it was a pretty good matchup, and thought we had a shot to get into the finals as well with the matchup with the Cali kid, but unfortunately we dropped that one in the semifinals, but then he battled back through and came back and finished 3rd. So top 2 get a seed at the national tournament, and next year actually 3rd place could get a national seed at the national tournament too, but unfortunately for this year, even though he took 3rd, he'll still get drawn in, but very pleased with how he wrestled, how he performed, and just get these next steps for him ready to go.
Jared, talk about what you were thinking about going into the weekend and how things worked out for you.
I knew I was going to be somewhere around the 4 or 5 seed. I saw when we got to the tournament that I was the 4 seed, and I saw who was in my way to make it to the semifinals, and I was very happy with where Coach was able to seed me. and I just knew that I just needed to have a good weekend, and if I could wrestle like I know I could, we'd be fine.
Talk about the match that I guess kept you from getting to the championship.
Previously wrestled him earlier in the year. It was a close match. I knew the kid was really solid. He was a nationally ranked kid, and didn't go my way. He wrestled me. I think he wrestled me a lot tougher in this time around than the first time, and I knew after I lost that match that I just needed to stay focused and get the next best thing, which was third.
So, how cool is that to be going to the Nationals?
I was really excited. Last year, had some injuries and wasn't even able to wrestle in the tournament, but I'm really excited. It was one of my goals, and the next accomplishment I can achieve is go for an All-American spot.
What's an All-American status? I mean, what do you got to do at the Nationals?
I got to take top 8, and it's going to be a tough tournament. You know, I'm going to get drawn in. It just kind of depends where I'm going to fall, but I'm going to give it all I got and wish for the best.
Talk about Skylar's weekend, Coach.
You know, Skylar's bracket was set up even better. There was kind of a situation in the seeding meeting. The seeding meeting is kind of weird. You throw up, before you seed the weight, you throw up who wants to get a seed, and then everyone kind of cuts off, and then they seed those wrestlers. You can't just, like, in the middle of the seeding of the weight say, oh, wait, I want a seed. And so I counted up how many were there, and when I threw Skylar's name up there was only 6. So I was thinking, all right, we can get the 6 seed, we'll be okay. But then 2 guys that had beat us, when they saw that we went up on the board, that they threw their names in there right away. So then I was like, oh, man, we're going to drop to 8. We're going to have to wrestle the number 1 ranked kid in the nation. And then, lo and behold, the Carl Alberts kid that we wrestled in the quarterfinals had a head-to-head win over the number 1 kid in the nation way early in the year. And I knew going into the next day that Skylar was going to be in the semifinals. I'd seen that kid wrestle, and I'm not sure how he beat that kid, but, you know, every dog has their day. But Skylar was pumped. We had a bye first round, and he just completely dominated the number 1 seed. I think he teched him like 22-7, so got himself into the semifinals and wrestled a kid from NEO that we hadn't seen in the semifinals. I think it was an 8-3 match. It was a tight match. He wrestled well. Then fell to the backside and ended up taking 5th. So I was very pleased with Skylar. I knew he could do it, but I also knew 141 was probably the deepest weight there. There's some guys staying home from our region that probably should be there, but unfortunately you only take 7 and so many wild cards, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes for him.
Skylar sounds kind of like a wild weekend down in Pratt with everything going on, and then you know going out and taking care of business. What's that mean to you to get to the national?
I mean, it's awesome. I honestly didn't expect it. I knew that my weight in my region had, at one point in the year, had about 5 kids ranked in the top 10 for the nation, and that it was going to be hard, and there was a few kids on there that weren't even ranked and had teched me throughout the year, and there's one of them that actually got 8th, and he teched me back in one of our duels. But I got a good draw. I wrestled hard, felt like I peaked at a good point, and now I got nothing to lose, and I got a shot to go get All-American, so it feels great.
We talk, okay, confidence as a wrestler, is it kind of somebody, well, okay, I've got confidence in my shot right now. If you're talking basketball, do you get that in wrestling as well?
It's definitely a struggle with confidence. You really just have to know that you're out there to wrestle, and that at any point in the match, it can turn towards your way. There's never a point, like you could be down 14-0. There's a point when we dueled Pratt, I was down 14-3. Got one good move when it came back 12-14, and now it's a close match and it's winnable. So at any point you can win a match, and you just got to always keep that in the back of your head and never give up.
Talk about Nathan's weekend, Coach.
Nathan's weekend was not really how we had planned it to be. He ended up being the 7th seed. Which wasn't necessarily a bad spot. The number 2 seed, we had lost 9-6 earlier in the year, but we kind of got drawn. Our opening match ended up being a kid that we were 1-1 with, which we were successful in that match. He did pin that kid, which kind of came back to help us later when we were speaking for wild cards. But then we lost in the quarters to the eventual fifth place finisher from Labette, and on the backside, he tweaked his ankle a little bit. You've known me long enough. I'm not an excuse maker, but we did tweak it back at the Golden Norseman Open, and in the first period, he had kind of stopped, and it was kind of weird because the other heavyweight just kind of stood there and let him kick his foot out a little bit, didn't try to attack him or anything, but you could tell he couldn't put a lot of weight on his ankle in the backside, and had a big throw, almost pinned the kid, and they got back to their feet, and then he tried to hit the same throw and just wasn't quite in the same position, and fell to his own back, unfortunately, and got pinned. So I know he was crushed. I think it might be the first time I'd ever seen him actually get mad after a match, which was nice to see. We just need to find a way to fuel that anger so he can use it at the national tournament, because I think if he had been that mad during the match, I don't think anything would have stopped him, So, but then we were able to speak for a wild card and was still able to get him in. He's had a pretty good season so far, so that was a big help with trying to get him in as a wild card, and I'm just happy we were able to pull the wild card for him. So.
Okay, so it's Nathan, and just go ahead and you just roll it off, okay? So I don't want to embarrass myself. Nathan, give us your last name here.
My name is Nathan Aguchi Ado.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Well, Nathan, talk about the weekend that you had, and you got a sprained ankle. It didn't go the way you wanted, but you're still going to nationals. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I was hyped. Coach came on the bus. He was like, Nate. He looking at me all angry. I thought I was in trouble. And my heart's pounding, and he's like, you're going to nationals? I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all stop playing with me. Last year, I got out, at the same spot. And I'm like, if I miss out this year, I'm going to be so mad. After I lost the second match, in my opinion, our ref was not good, if we being for real. But I rolled through my back. He called a pin. But it's okay. I was angry. I was, throwing stuff in the locker room, and I was just going to go home and mope. I'm not even going to lie. But after Coach told me I was going to nationals, I'm like, okay, this is my time to shine. I can show you guys what I've been training for the past 2 years. You know what I mean? It's really it's nice when you work hard and it pays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you're feeling pretty good today.
Yeah.
Is the ankle feeling better?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, it's ice and stuff like that, I guess they can put on. So what are your expectations? I mean, you're excited to go into this. What are your expectations? Now you got to sit around for a while before you get to do this, but, what are you thinking right now?
Coach has told me, there's no one person in the bracket that I can't beat. I gotta get out of my own head. There's some days, I'm going through it. I'm not wrestling like I should be. And other days, I'm wrestling good. So I feel like as long as I stay on my feet, get out of my own head, I think I'll be doing good at the tournament.
What do you think, Jared? Have you seen him mad before?
That was the first time. I've never really seen him get too mad. And, no, he's absolutely right. He can beat anybody in the bracket, and then there's some days anybody can beat him. It's just whichever mentality he's in. If he's on, he's on.
Skylar, how does it feel to be on a Barton team that continues to, this program's growing? You're part of that, but to be part of the 5 that are going to the Nationals, how's that make you feel?
It's awesome. I love that I get to be a part of a growing program, and I get to be a part of some of the first wrestlers that Brock O'Min got to bring to Nationals, and I'm excited to see how much he can grow the program more next year, too.
Okay, Coach, a couple kids couldn't be here today. Jamal Garrett and Caden Blake talk about their weekend.
Caden Blake actually had a great draw. We had a bye first round. Regardless, he was going to be in the top 8, so we knew realistically he just had to win one of his 3 matches. He's one of them that was wrestling through. I think he's got influenza A. But it was so late by the time he started feeling that way that there's nothing we could do as far as subbing somebody in. So basically forced him to do it, and the first match, like I said, he had a bye, and there was an upset to the number 3 seed, so he actually had a kid that we had beaten previous in the year, so if we could have won that match, we would have been able to just forfeit out and be done for the day, but he fell short in that one. And then we go to the backside, and we're wrestling another kid who we had a tight match with throughout the year, and unfortunately fell to that one, and then 7th and 8th he pulled through and gave it everything he got and won a tight 5-4 decision, which punched it punched him into the national tournament. And his parents took him right back to the dorms right afterwards. You know, he was sick, and was able to pull through, and which just shows you kind of, you know, the mentality you do have to have. He was not in a good place at all after his first match. He told me he was done. He's not wrestling again, and we were able to get him back out there on the mat, and you know, he's able to get himself to stay alive for 3 more weeks at least to give him a shot at the national tournament.
Jamal Garrett gets in.
Jamal Garrett wrestled well. We had a tough first round match, drew the number 3 seed. And I knew on the backside it wasn't looking good. We were going to wrestle a kid from Cloud. We had never wrestled him before, but he'd been tech balling and pinning guys that had been beating us throughout the year. And we went down pretty big in the match in the first period. I don't even know. I actually wasn't even coaching that match because we had 2 guys going at the same time. But I know I think he was down like 8-1 at one time. And he just came back and grinded and stayed on his feet, and I think he ended up winning like 22-17 or something crazy like that. But we just kept taking him down, cutting him. He kind of gassed out, and that put us into the top 8. And I knew the next match was not in our favor either, but I knew who we were going to have for 7th and 8th, and that was going to be the match that could send him there. And he kind of did the same thing. He kind of went down and was losing 5-4 after the first period, and the kid, you know, he's got a motor on him. He's not a huge 125-pounder, but if he can stay tight in a match, a lot of times he can gas him out on his feet, and that's what he did. The kid just kind of got exhausted, and we ended up pinning him late in the second period, and he was pumped. You know, those are moments that stand out to you, just because he is a small 25-pounder. He was so excited, he just ran and jumped in my arms, and you don't have that happen too often, you know, and it was just a fun moment. Fun life moment. So.
Well, maybe we can get those 2 guys back in here.
Yeah. I mean, we got 3 weeks.
We don't want influenza A.
Yeah, exactly. Get them healed up, and maybe we can bring them in next week or something.
Nathan, thanks for coming in today. Jared, congratulations. Skylar, really appreciate it. And come in next week if you want to.
Yeah, I'll see how they're feeling.
Maybe we can baseball or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'll chat with it about whatever.
Take care of your ankle, Nathan. Okay. All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk Barton Lady Cougar basketball next on Sports Day.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powson, president of your local equity bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Sandy Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, what are you doing off for Valentine's Day?
Well, Hadley, February is the month of love, and nothing shows love like a new garage door.
You're not just saying that because you own the company, are you, Papa?
Well, maybe a little, but honestly, a new garage door can really brighten up the home.
So, what are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
You go, Hadley.
C&E Doors. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, Great Bend.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KBGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Sports Day. It's brought to you in part by the Animal Medical Center in Great Bend. Large or small, they take care of them all. Eller Automotive Repair, where they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Alan Clark, I guess he's out recruiting today. That's what he told me. But this is perfect because we're going to talk with a couple freshman Lady Cougars today. Kiana Hall from Liberal. Welcome in.
Hi.
I feel like Brock Kappelman. I'm going to do this. And Cody Greer.
Yep.
Yeah. So how many different names has your hometown been called over the years?
Oh, there's a lot of them. But it's Basor Linwood.
I kind of put more Z on it a little bit.
A lot of people do
So,
that.
but it's Basor.
Yes.
Okay, it's not Basor Linwood.
No, but a lot of people do that too. So you're not the only one.
Well, it's good to have you guys in here today. Kiana, I'll go talk with you about your first year in Great Bend and how things have gone for you in your freshman season in the Jayhawk Conference.
It's been great. I'm loving it. It's a freshman experience, of course. And I couldn't, ask for a better freshman experience, but it's going great, yeah.
And, of course, when you're a freshman, you come in, and, of course, now you're almost a grizzled veteran, right? I mean, you're, a sophomore now. You played enough games, but what was the biggest difference coming from Liberal High coming into the Jayhawk Conference?
The game of basketball is way faster than what I expected in college ball. I mean, it's college ball. Everyone, expects it to be better, but you just have to have better high IQ than you do in high school ball. But, yeah, I think that was probably one of the big things that I thought was so much different from coming from high school. Is the pace of the game.
Cody, what about you? Go ahead and pull up a little bit closer. You can pull that mic over. There you go.
I would say, there's a lot of things in high school that you're told to do, but kind of when you get into college and you have to play the game and you're playing against everybody's a good player because everyone came to college for the sport. So you have to find different ways to kind of, execute that. So I would say, honestly, making cuts to get open, spacing on the court, all the little things, it kind of opened my mind up and wow, this is really the reason why we do it. And all the little things really do add up.
Basor Linwood.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Now, where is Basor?
Basor, it's right next to Piper and 15 minutes outside of the Legends, Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what league was Basor Linwood in?
It's the United Kansas Conference, but we're 5A, so.
Okay. Who else is in that league?
Topeka Seaman, DeSoto,
Okay.
Leavenworth. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you didn't have any trips to Liberal and.
No, I did not. I'm not around here much, no.
That's all right. Liberal's a fine trip. I just got back there. It's just 3 hours whichever way you go.
Yeah.
So that's neither here nor there. So how have you improved as a player?
I would say definitely moving without the ball. I would say being able to read other players. And again, like I said, make those cuts. Definitely reading the defense is really important. And I would say my defense still needs to be improved, but just kind of understanding the aspects of defense and being able to move your feet and play defense as a team probably.
How did you find out about Barton, and how did Alan Clark find out about you?
Okay, so actually the first time I went to Great Bend, I had a trainer, Elijah Johnson. He played at KU, and Natalie Knight, she also played there. And they had camps that they would do around different places. And I was kind of one of their girls, so they took me with them to their camps. And one of them was Great Bend. We stayed at a hotel up around here, and they did it at Great Bend High School. So that was the first time that I actually came here, and I would have never known. But Coach Clark came to a lot of my AAU games, and he talked to me after one of them. And then I came up here and visited during the summertime. And then, yeah, I thought it was a good opportunity. So kind of full circle.
We plucked one out of Greenville down there. What about your recruiting experience, Kiana?
Coach Clark has followed me since my sophomore year, but since then he's stuck with me since my sophomore year, watched games, and yeah, it just went from there really.
That's a big step. It could have been probably easy to just stay at home, but.
Yeah, no.
So it's worked out well.
Yeah,
for you, huh?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, we've got about 2.5 weeks left to go. Look at the Lady Cougars and what you need to get done. What is going to make that happen for this team? What needs to take place with the group of your teammates to make this run here at the end of the year?
I believe that we have to execute these next 3 games coming up. They should be easy wins. Obviously, we can't take them lightly, but we still have to play the best we can. But we got to execute these next 3 games, and then I believe we have Coffeyville at the end of the season, and that's going to be a tough one for us. And it was a close one, and it was a really close one that we could have grabbed. But, we're going to travel up there and see what we can do. And, yeah.
Cody, what are your feelings going into these last few games?
I would say that I think right now we're really focusing on playing for each other and, yeah, like Kiana said, like executing, especially on offense, like executing our plays and just putting together all the little puzzle pieces so that whenever we start going into playoffs, we have a clean slate and we're all together and we can get rolling.
Family making the trip to Goodland?
I'm not sure. I had to check up on that one.
From the northeast corner to the northwest corner. But, guys, thanks for coming in today, and appreciate you being on Sports Day, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
That is Kiana Hall and Cody Greer with us here on Sports Day. We're back to wrap up the Monday show right after this.
Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, and today we want to give a shout out to all the supporting cast at these basketball games. We have some great young men and young women on the court, but we also have some great young men and women playing their instruments, cheering, dancing, all those things. Let's clap for them. When they perform and get done, let's show them a round of applause, show them some love as well, because they deserve it. Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, large or small, we take care of them all.
Take your passion for creating magic behind the curtain to new levels with Barton Community College's Technical Theater program. This new program is designed for students to learn how to create breathtaking light shows, run a state-of-the-art soundboard, and build captivating sets. Unleash your creativity and earn an associate's degree to build the skills you need for a career in theater. Now enrolling for the fall semester. Learn more at techtheater.bartonccc.edu.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Sports Day today. Show brought to you by Freedom Claims Management, innovative healthcare plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish, and continued support. They have you covered. And Equity Bank, adding value for their customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. Barton softball. Now, the baseball team, their 4-game series with Western Nebraska was postponed. They were supposed to play in Hayes this weekend. Well, Barton softball went to Texas, and they ended up splitting a couple of games. Friday, tough game. They led by 7 before they ended up losing 12-8 to North Central Texas College, and then managed just 1 hit in taking a 5-0 9-0 loss to Murray State. But they did bounce back with a couple wins on Saturday, beating Northern Oklahoma Enid 8-7, and then knocking off 16th ranked Paris Junior College 6-2. So kind of worked out pretty good. Nothing going on. Well, I guess they were supposed to play their home opener on Wednesday against Fort Scott. That's not going to happen now, but they will come up on Saturday. They play at Rose State down in Oklahoma, and it looks like the weather's going to be pretty good for that. So Lady Cougar softball, Carson DeBose will be coming in here as we start talking that here in a couple of weeks as the season gets into conference play. Hey, we've got basketball for you tonight on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Duke and Virginia. Coverage begins at 6:30. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Sports Day here on KVGB.